George Russell's seat at Mercedes may be under more threat than people realize. And no, it's not just because of Antonelli or some mid-season form slump. The real pressure is coming from one direction, and one driver, Max Verstappen. As silly season rumors start to swirl with increasing intensity, one name continues to dominate the conversation: Max Verstappen, the reigning world champion, the face of modern Formula One, and possibly, just possibly, the next driver to suit up in silver. At first glance, this might sound like just another round of fan speculation. After all, Max is tied to Red Bull through 2028. But here's the thing. Contracts in Formula One aren't always what they seem, especially when there's an exit clause involved, and Verstappen does have one. And now, with chaos quietly building behind the scenes at Red Bull, that exit clause is more than just a technicality. It could become the single biggest factor shaping the 2026 grid. Meanwhile, over at Mercedes, George Russell is doing everything in his power to secure his place. He's said all the right things. He's raced hard. He's led the team when Hamilton wasn't in the mix. But even George admits, nothing is guaranteed. Just recently, he said, "No. My position at Mercedes isn't safe. You've got to keep performing. Nothing's ever promised in this sport." And he's right. If Max becomes available, really available, Mercedes will move mountains to bring him in. Because let's be honest, who wouldn't? We've got to talk about why this even matters in the first place. Why would Max, a three-time world champion and counting, even consider leaving Red Bull, the team that's given him total control, a dominant car, and a championship dynasty? Well, the answer is layered. It's not just about speed anymore. It's about stability. Red Bull has started to show cracks. Adrian Newey, the genius behind their car dominance, is leaving. Senior leadership is splintered. Behind-the-scenes politics are boiling over, and Max has made it very clear in interviews that he's not interested in drama. He said this isn't just about winning anymore, it's about being happy in the environment he's in. And right now, Red Bull might be fast, but it isn't happy. The idea of Verstappen leaving Red Bull might have sounded ridiculous a year ago, but now it's a real possibility. And when a generational talent like Max even flirts with leaving, every top team starts clearing a space in the garage. Toto Wolff isn't going to let this chance pass him by twice. He's admitted in the past that missing out on signing Max years ago was one of his biggest regrets. This time, if Verstappen becomes available, expect Mercedes to go all in. But if Verstappen comes in, someone has to go. That brings us back to George Russell. Now, to be fair, Russell's stats are strong. He's outqualified Lewis Hamilton in multiple races. He's won in difficult conditions. He's respected in the paddock, sharp in interviews, and popular with fans. He's been everything Mercedes could have asked for, and more. But in Formula One, good doesn't always cut it when great knocks on your door. There's also Antonelli, the teenage sensation who Mercedes is grooming for the future. If Verstappen comes in for 2026 and Antonelli is promoted around the same time, where does that leave George? Wolff has spoken highly of both drivers, but he's also said Mercedes must always plan with performance first in mind. That's the brutal math of F1. Let's add another layer to this, the 2026 regulation change. Everything is about to be shaken up, from engine architecture to aero rules. It's essentially a clean slate for all teams. Mercedes sees this as their big chance to reset. Red Bull is already dominant under the current rules. But what happens when the slate is wiped clean? Who will adapt fastest? Which drivers do you trust to lead that evolution? Mercedes wants to be that team, and if they get Verstappen behind the wheel of their 2026 car, they'll believe they've already won half the battle. Russell, for all his talent, just hasn't proven himself as a clear number one in the same way Max has. That's not a knock. That's just reality. If you're a team principal and Verstappen is on the market, you explore that move every time. Even Martin Brundle, who's known for being fair and balanced, didn't hold back. He said, "If Max suddenly becomes available, I'd be worried if I were George. Antonelli is clearly their guy for the future, and Verstappen is Verstappen. Simple as that." Now let's take a moment and look at where Russell could go if Mercedes decides to make the big move. Aston Martin has been whispered as a potential landing spot. They'll soon be facing life after Alonso, and they're positioning themselves as a future championship contender. With Honda engines coming in 2026, they need a proven leader. Could Russell be that guy? It's very possible. Then there's Red Bull. Would they consider taking Russell if Max leaves? Well, we've heard faint chatter about Russell's camp and Red Bull having informal talks. Nothing solid, nothing official. But again, where there's smoke. The bigger picture here is that this entire situation could trigger a massive grid reshuffle. If Max leaves Red Bull for Mercedes, Russell may go to Aston Martin. Antonelli may step in. Red Bull might chase Lando Norris. Leclerc may reconsider Ferrari. We're talking about a full reset of F1's driver landscape in a single domino chain. And it all hinges on Max Verstappen's decision. Now, what about Mercedes' public stance? Toto Wolff and his communications chief, Bradley Lord, have said they're in no rush to extend Russell. They've praised his performance, said there's mutual trust. But here's the thing, they haven't offered him a deal yet. That silence is louder than any quote. Wolff also said, "We're happy with George, but if the market changes, we'll evaluate every option." That's not exactly a hard yes to keeping Russell, is it? So where do things go from here? If Max stays at Red Bull, expect Russell to get a new deal, maybe a multi-year extension, maybe with performance clauses of his own. Mercedes is loyal, but only up to a point. But if Max decides to walk, Mercedes won't hesitate. And honestly, neither should they. Russell is a great driver. He may become a world champion one day, but Verstappen already is. And in this sport, momentum matters. Dominance matters. Legends are built not just on speed, but on timing. This could be Max's moment to switch and reshape F1 in the process. So now, let's turn it over to you. If you were Toto Wolff, what would you do? Stick with Russell and Antonelli and trust the long-term plan, or throw everything at Max Verstappen and try to dominate the next era? Do you think Russell deserves to stay with Mercedes no matter what? Or is this the harsh reality of elite motorsport? Let us know in the comments below. Seriously, we want your take on this one, because this isn't just about drivers. It's about the next 5 years of Formula One history. While you're at it, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got more deep dives, more breaking news, and more Formula One chaos coming your way every week. Click the video on your screen now. We're diving into Verstappen's contract details and what Red Bull is doing behind the scenes to stop him from leaving. You won't want to miss it.